Namaste, sir, for joining in our program.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, sir. Namaste, sir.
Namaste, sir. बहुत धन्यवाद, sir. So you are all looking. Mizoram is a nice heaven. You are all looking very handsome, sir.
No, first we are happy. We are happy. All happy people are handsome people.
Yeah. But you are more enlightened like Gandhi.
Happiness
Nice.
is beauty, no?
Yeah. You are right. Your definition is good.
How to share?
अरे मेरा ऑफिस को लो.
Yeah. If you click, then it will come. Click. शेयर स्क्रीन कैसा है इसमें?
अरे उसको भी बुला दो. टिकन को इधर बुलाओ. नीचे है ना टिकन. अभी गया ना. अभी बाइक में गया ना. नॉट सिक्योरिटी. एक बाइक में गया ना. एमआरसी का बेटा. उसको बुलाओ.
इधर कहाँ है? जूम మనకు బాగా తెలుసు.
Shankar, welcome. Shankar, welcome from Sikkim.
Welcome, sir. Welcome, sir.
Dr. Shankar from Sikkim University.
Sir, shall we start?
Rakesh Nimagadda is from Hyderabad.
No. I just go open this one. Let me.
अरे भाई YouTube लगाया.
Oh.
Namaste.
Google Meet the problem.
Now, first we name myself and put your presentation. No.
Is there? It's coming out. Okay. Just don't share now.
Okay.
Window, no? You have click window.
YouTube इधर वो भी खुला सकता है भाई हमारा.
YouTube पे आ रहा है. YouTube पे लाइव हो गया आ रहा है.
ओके ठीक. कैमरा नहीं है. हाँ YouTube मेरा भी है ना YouTube.
नहीं सर आपका YouTube नहीं है सर. YouTube पे लाइव आ रहा है.
हाँ YouTube पे ना.
ठीक है सर.
नहीं चाहिए.
नहीं सर आप इसी पे रहिए सर. Sir, you be on Google Meet, sir. You have to speak from here, sir. Sir, shall we start? I think we are ready to.
Yeah. All the speakers have joined, so we can start, sir.
Patnaik sir, welcome. Our Pro Vice Chancellor.
Oh, welcome, sir.
नमस्ते सर.
Professor J.K. Patnaik.
नमस्ते. सिंघ्या गारू नमस्ते.
Namaste, namaste, sir. बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, sir, for joining in our program.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, sir.
Sir, shall we start, sir?
Huh?
Shall we start, sir?
Bhagat?
Shall we start?
I think you can start since all of our guests, everybody has come.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, sir, then. Madam Gracie, you are there?
Yes, yes, madam is there.
Hey, generator है नहीं है?
Madam Gracie?
Madam, please unmute yourself. Yeah, yeah.
I'm here. Yeah. Am I
Yeah, let us
audible?
start, ma'am. Yeah,
Yes,
yes.
let's
Oh,
start.
well, well, well.
All right. Yeah, hello,
Namaste,
sir.
madam.
Namaste, sir.
Namaste.
All right. A very good afternoon and a warm welcome to the continuation of 150 years of celebrating the Mahatma. The birth of Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, fondly known as the Mahatma or a great soul, has been a precious gift to the world. His practice of satyagraha, ahimsa, or non-violence as means to counter oppression and the radical ideas of dissent in an age of violence and bigotry left a profound impact on many world leaders, not only of his time, but for generations to come. He played a pivotal role in abolishing the heinous practice like untouchability. The great leader also led nationwide campaigns for easing poverty, expanding women's rights, building amity between various religious and ethnic groups. And above all of them, he strove to achieve Swaraj or self-rule. He is truly, I quote, a man among men, a hero among heroes, and a patriot among patriots, unquote, as G.K. Gokhale has rightly put. Bapu's birth anniversary is also celebrated as International Day of Nonviolence, as declared by the United Nations General Assembly 2007. So to start off our program today, I would now request our Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor, Professor G. Singaya, from NEHU Tura campus to do the honors of delivering the welcome speech. Please, sir.
Thank you, madam. Are you hearing, madam? Are you hearing?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay,
you're very
okay.
much audible, sir.
Okay,
Please
okay.
carry on.
Our Honorable Vice Chancellor, sir, Professor K.S.R. Samsirao Garu, and my good friend, Professor Jyoti Kumarji, and all other faculty members, staff officers, students, and my own colleagues, Dr. L.K. Gracie Madam, Dr. Deepak, Dr. Sunendro, and ladies and gentlemen, very, very good afternoon to each and every one of you. On behalf of our NEHU Tura campus, on behalf of my colleagues, staff, students, on my own behalf, I welcome you all to this 150 years of Mahatma Gandhi continuous celebrations. And it is our tradition and our way of life practicing the Mahatma Gandhi Jayanti every year on 2nd October. As part of it, our campus has been organizing series of activities. This year also, we have conducted essay competitions about the new education policy for college, school children, college, university students. That way, last year also we had celebrated, we had organized a museum series of lectures. Similarly, every year we have been organizing as part of it, even if there is a COVID situation and all of our colleagues have thought, let us also organize this year. In this context, I approached our well-wisher, our mentor of our NEHU, as well as my own Professor K.S.R. Samsirao Garuji, he who has, when I approached him very few days back, sir, you have to deliver a speech immediately. He has given a consent. Sir, we appreciate your concern for our campus, for our NEHU. And I sincerely thank you, express my gratitude. And I welcome you, sir, to our Gandhi Jayanti celebrations today. I welcome you, sir. Bahut bahut dhanyawad. Similarly, my good friend, Professor Jyoti Kumarji, who has also, when I requested him, he has also agreed to join in this program to deliver a speech on this occasion about the relevance of Gandhiji ideology in the modern age or in the 21st century. Similarly, our Honorable Vice Chancellor sir also is going to speak about Phoenix Farm, birthplace of Satyagraha. Similarly, I also welcome all the faculty members from different universities, students, officers, my own coordinators, and our Madam L.K. Gracie, students for this Gandhi Jayanti celebrations. And बहुत heartfelt greetings to each and every one of you. So as mentioned by Professor L.K. Gracie, we need not speak about Gandhiji, who is a great personality of our Kaliyug modern age. So who has a great exemplary to each and every one of us, to the humankind, who has inspired the global leaders across the globe. So that way, he belongs to the high order of enlightened human being, and he is a person who has internalized the values and principles of Indian thought culture in letter and spirit, having a faith and practice in transforming the human character. He lives in each and every human being, especially in India, even across the globe, because some portion of our way of life, whether in a personal life, social life, professional life, Gandhi's ideology is very much prevalent. Gandhi is a person who got inspired by our Vedas, Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita. He is the epitome of our Indian culture, Indian philosophy, who lives in each and every Indian as well as a human heart, because his ideology is nothing but free will of a human being. He always speaks from his conscience. He is guided by his conscience in his personal life as well as a professional life. Such a great, in this Kaliyug modern age, we are all gifted, God's gift, having such a highly enlightened human being who is inspiring each and every one of us. So he is the person who has evolved from time to time, from pillar to post. Like any other common man, he also committed a series of mistakes. But from each and every mistakes he had committed in his way of life, and he has experimented each and every mistake in his life from a truth which is found from our Indian philosophy, which Indian philosophy is a highly inclusive of all world religious faith and belief. So we are all so fortunate having such a great person, and we are celebrating Gandhi Jayanti as a source of inspiration for each and every one of us, especially at present various societies across the globe and various institutions across the globe, even in India, and individuals of the whole human race, even today under this COVID situation, we are all undergoing and experiencing ethical dilemmas, ethical conflicts, which is creating more of dysfunctional conflicts, where we are all living with a great fear in our social and personal and professional life, rather than functional conflicts, where how to overcome, how to create a better society. So under such situations, such a crisis, Gandhian approach, especially to create a exemplary leadership, is the only way to create a better society, better human beings, especially better academic institutions. So that way, we have to take his life as a exemplary. Because why he has become exemplary? He has been evolving from day by day, minute by minute, second by second. So that way he has evolved, he has guided, and he has inspired each and every one of us, especially at present in academic institutions. We are the kingmakers of our societies. So we have to understand, and we have to, in letter and spirit, we have to follow his ideals, his guiding principles in our institution to transform great institutions where Ramaraja, in Ramaraja, the only great spirit is that common man. He lives very peacefully. He has a very harmonious life, balanced life, where equilibrium that is possible. People live in a northeast. We are all very fortunate. We don't find much of indigenous people dying without a food, without a shelter, without a cloth. So such a Ramaraja already existed to some extent in tribal societies. And if you follow more of Gandhian philosophy, where it is already endowed with in the tribal culture, tribal ideology. So we have to strengthen our culture in order to create a Ramaraj ideal society, where our societies in Northeast is a egalitarian society, classless and casteless societies, where whether women or men, or whether any caste, any religion, everybody is free to take up any economic activity. Everybody have more of a democratic values in choosing their economic activity or life partner, anything. So that kind of a freedom that is very much existed. So Gandhian ideology, definitely it is going to inspire each and every one of, especially institutional leaders, social institutions, academic institutions, economic institutions, each and every individuals. I hope this kind of celebrations, it will reiterate, and we will be able to rededicate ourselves to strengthen our leadership personalities, service leadership, what he has emphasized about, where he is a very simple life, high thinking, hard working, exemplary leadership. Such kind of leadership, I hope, not only it will imbibe in the contemporary leaders, but also in the future leaders to come. So with this, once again, I welcome our Honorable Vice Chancellor Sir, Mizoram University, who has agreed to speak on phonics farm, birthplace of Satyagraha, as well as our good friend and well-wisher who has visited our campus many times, Professor Jyoti Kumar, who is going to share some of his thoughts on the relevance of Gandhian philosophy in the 21st century. And I once again welcome all my friends, colleagues across the institutions, across the various societies. With this, I sincerely express my sincere gratitude for joining with this campus. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir, for your warm words of welcome and for setting the tone for this auspicious occasion. We have with us here an eminent personality from Mizoram University, Professor N.V.R. Jyoti Kumar. Professor Jyoti Kumar has over 35 years of teaching experience and published over 60 research papers and authored 5 books. He served as Dean of the Schools in Mizoram University. Sir is now serving as head of the Department of Commerce, Mizoram University, for the 3rd time. He has provided research guidance for 10 PhD scholars. Sir, we are honored to have you here today, and we look forward to listening to your talk on relevance of Gandhian philosophy in the 21st century. Please, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Gracie, for your nice words about me. Respected Pro Vice Chancellor of NEHU, my very good friend, Pro Vice Chancellor of NEHU Tura campus, my very good friend, Professor G. Singaya, from the days of MCOM in Andhra University. Beloved Vice Chancellor of my university, Professor KRS Samsivaraw Garu, Pro Vice Chancellor, Professor J.K. Patnaik Garu. There are many participants, good friends are there, people, very senior people like UB Singh, who are well-wishers of Mizoram University. I'm able to see only few names here on the board. And there are many people joined in this meeting from different states of the country, from Sikkim, from Andhra Pradesh, from Telangana, from West Bengal, from Orissa. There are many people joined in this meeting. And thank you very much for your gracious presence here. I'm deeply thankful for all your presence. And I'm also deeply moved by love in having invited me along with our Honorable Vice Chancellor. And on this August occasion, first let me extend my heartfelt greetings to you all on the occasion of Gandhi Jayanti, as well as the Jayanti of Lal Bahadur Shastri. And the nation is celebrating 151st birthday of Mahatma Gandhi and 116th birthday of Lal Bahadur Shastri. And we all know Lal Bahadur Shastri was born in Mughal Sarai. Now it is popularly known as Varanasi. Though the railway station's name is still Mughal Sarai, he was born there. And he was 16 when Gandhiji called upon people of the country to join the non-cooperation movement. As Minister for Railways in independent India, he had resigned for the post of minister due to a train accident, though he was not responsible for it directly. He was humble, tolerant, with great inner strength and resoluteness. As second Prime Minister of the country, he had promoted the white revolution in the country by supporting the popular Amul milk cooperative movement in Anand in Gujarat. And his call, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, had inspired the whole nation at that time. But after 65 plus years, if we see the present situation, entire globe is actually struggling to combat with COVID-19. Now also, we should salute our Kisan and we should salute our Jawan, because Indian Kisan, they never failed India to get food. So when many sectors struggled a lot to do their work, it is Indian Jawan and Indian Kisan, and they never slept and they continue to give their sacrifices to the nation. Well, Gandhi was a practical idealist. His life and work gave us a number of concepts which have become more relevant in the 21st century. His writings and works made him earn a name as a journalist, politician, environmentalist, educationist, economist, social reformer, physician, philosopher, and whatnot. But interestingly, he used to take pride. He used to take pride in calling himself a good scavenger. That is a title he used to love very much, scavenger. Whatever cleanliness drive we are doing now across the nations in the context of COVID-19 to combat the pandemic, he had popularized it by saying cleanliness is godliness. And we all know, like people are there, Professor Patnaik and Professor UB Singh. Actually, those are the people who are more qualified to talk about Gandhiji. That's why my humble submission to audience is, I didn't do any research on Gandhiji, but as millions of Indians and others beyond India, I'm one of his fans. As one of his fans, I just I cultivated the habit of knowing more about him by reading his writings and also by reading writings on Gandhiji. And from those writings, I could understand he was a great mass communicator. Mass communication, communication technology, all these things we are talking about that. But just imagine some 100 plus years back, a small man whom people called, half-naked fakir. That was a title given by Churchill, half-naked fakir. Such a small man, how he could communicate with the audiences across the nations. We know some 100 years back, there were no, some 100 plus years back, no proper communication facilities. Electronic communication was not there. Only one technology was there, that is nothing but printing technology. And though he was a lawyer by education, and he started 2 newspapers. He used to edit 2 newspapers, though in his life he had been associated with 6 journals, right? Through his writings, through newspapers, he used to communicate his powerful ideas to the world. But again, we should understand the conditions those times. Illiteracy was huge those days, and the transportation system was not that good. But how newspapers used to travel to the people, and how he became so powerful mass communicator through his readings, that is a big wonder even now for many social scientists. And he was considered the greatest innovative thinker of the 20th century. Greatest innovative thinker of the 20th century. On an average, he used to walk down 18 kilometers a day, 18 kilometers a day, and on average. And he did it for 40 years of his life. Unimaginable. And between 1913 to 48, maybe 35 period span, and he had walked down 79,000 kilometers. Possible for a human being? So Mahatma Gandhi was an inventor of a unique way of protest, a struggle of emancipation and of empowerment. His generalship was not about in making war, but in waging peace. These words I liked. His generalship was not about in making war, but in waging peace. His weaponry was not arms and ammunition, but satyagraha. On June 7, 1893, a young barrister, age was just 23-year guy, M.K. Gandhi, he was evicted from a train in a railway station in South Africa. What was the crime committed by him? He was a non-white. Then after some time, Gandhi remarked about this incident in his own words, "I have never understood how any man can derive pleasure from the humiliation of another." A spark was lit, which was to change the course of world history. Gandhi was a man of peace who did not hesitate to fight for what he believed to be right. He was a political strategist, but he never held any political office. He was a thinker and a philosopher. At the same time, he was a man of action. He adapted himself to changing situations without compromising his basic values and convictions. He respected traditions, yet he was a great social reformer. He was a deeply religious, but he drew from every faith a religion that was all-inclusive. Many people in India and elsewhere are today turning to him to seek solutions to contemporary concerns, to contemporary problems through individual and collective action. It is true that the world of today is vastly different from the world of M.K. Gandhi. In his time, many nations were subject to colonial subjugation. Racial discrimination was order of the day. But now, situation is totally different. But could we say that now the world is without any problem? Are we peaceful now? Do we have world peace now? Is this world free from conflict, poverty, violence, and hunger? Yes, now we are surrounded by so many threats. New threats to peace, harmony, stability have emerged. Some examples. Terrorism inflicts untold suffering on innocent women, men, and children. There is growing intolerance in the name of religion, region, caste, ethnicity. There are growing inequalities, both within and among us. Economic disparities are widespread. Lack of access to education, health, and food security by a large number of people still. There is a threat of environmental degradation and climate change. New diseases like HIV, AIDS, and COVID-19, these are new problems we are facing. Though we have a beautiful name to the current situation as new normalcy, we don't know when normalcy is restored. Entire globe is fearful of losing a livelihood, losing income. We are fearful of losing life. Fear of death is, in fact, more dangerous than death itself. So, world is not safe now. Gandhian philosophy exists on several planes: the spiritual, moral, political, economic, social, individual, and collective. Its objective is to transform the individual and society simultaneously, in accordance with certain principles. What should be Gandhiji's sources of inspiration? We all know Gandhiji is a source of inspiration for many people. We all know that. But what should be Gandhiji's sources of inspiration in his times? Here are some: Bhagavad Gita, Jainism, Buddhism, Bible, Gopal Krishna Gokhale, Tolstoy, John Ruskin. These are some. Tolstoy, he authored one book, The Kingdom of God is Within You. That book had tremendous impact on Gandhiji's personality. Similarly, Gandhiji had translated John Ruskin's book, Unto This Last. That is the title of the book. And he had translated into book, title is Sarvodaya. Sarvodaya is the name given by Gandhiji. Well, Mahatma Gandhi advocated many principles, and Gandhian philosophy is an embodiment of certain principles. We all know these things. Truth, truthfulness in word and deed. Very difficult to do this. We find wide gap between what people speak and what people do. But in a relative sense, truthfulness, according to him, is same. It should be reflected the same meaning in one's word and deed. And in absolute sense, it is nothing but the ultimate reality. What is the ultimate reality? For a human being, again, spiritual sense. His life started as God is truth, but ended as truth is God. His life started as God is truth, but ended as truth is God. And he used to say that means should justify the ends. But what is happening nowadays, and many people, many organizations, at times governments also think that ends justify the means. Ends justify the means. That is against Gandhi's principle. He used to say means should justify the ends. And we all know UNO very recently, United Nations organizations, UNO, they have celebrated the 75th anniversary. And about tragedy, about calamities, especially when a calamity like COVID-19, when it happens once in a century, then one of the beneficial effects of calamities is calamities unite people because common enemy is one. Say, for example, now it is COVID. Common enemy. Everybody is common enemy. But countries are divided. UNO is not able to do, or it was not allowed to function properly. And there are so many questions about UNO's future itself. Same is the case with the World Health Organization, UNESCO. There is drastic erosion of their credibility. There are certain nations, they are preventing by using their veto power. I don't know the morality behind veto power, right? I'm not talking about legality, but morality behind veto power. Is it possible for one or two countries to use veto power against the interests of the common people in the world? Well, then non-violence. This is not mere peacefulness or absence of overt violence. It denotes active love. In fact, it is the highest law of humankind. Today, when I read some newspapers, and in many editorial pages, there are good writings on Mahatma Gandhi. But there are editorials in certain newspapers. It is about how to control or how to curb atrocities against women. And they have given very sadly, they have given some statistics, and those statistics are mind-boggling. One side, writings about Mahatma Gandhi's personality. On the other side, there are editorials, because that has become very important editorial nowadays. And I have read in one newspaper that 87 women are being raped a day on average in India. So, but we are preaching non-violence. Then Satyagraha, it is a method of securing rights by personal suffering and not inflicting injury on others. Its origin can be found in the Upanishads and the teachings of Buddha and Mahavira. Upanishads, Buddha, Mahavira, they influenced Gandhi very much. Then Sarvodaya, the concept coined by Mahatma, means what? Universal upliftment. Nowadays, all our policies, government policies, and we're all talking about inclusiveness, how to include all the people, inclusive development, inclusive education, right? He had proposed this concept way back some 110 years back, universal upliftment, or progress for all, first coined by Gandhiji. That is the title of his translation, as I told earlier, a book written by John Ruskin. It is a book on political economy unto this last. That book impacted him very much. Then there are certain concepts like Swaraj, trusteeship, Swadeshi, the Gram Swaraj. These are the concepts. In fact, these are socio-economic philosophy. They touch upon many socio-economic issues. And Swaraj is nothing but freedom for the meanest of our countrymen. Trusteeship, Swadeshi, it's a conjunction of two Sanskrit words. Swa means self, Desh means country. It also means self-sufficiency. Many people, they used to argue in the context of globalization and liberalization, self-sufficiency has become outdated. But thanks to COVID, now all countries, advanced nations, whatever may be their philosophies, whether they are democratic or not so democratic, they're all talking about how to make their economies self-sufficient, how to reduce their dependence on one nation, how to engage themselves in local production, how to support MSME sector, micro, small, and medium enterprises, and how to harness our local skills, indigenous skills. And all countries, right from America to many countries, they are thinking on these lines. But this is not a new concept. This concept was educated by Gandhiji way back. Well, Mahatma Gandhi envisioned Gram Swaraj. If I read latest books on public administration, because Professor U.B. Singh is there and Professor Patnaik, they are there. And the latest concepts in the latest book, it is all about participatory democracy, how to implement that, and how to make decisions at grassroots level. But is it really a new concept? No. Promoted by Gandhiji long back. And all systems systems, whether it is capitalistic, socialistic, and communistic, have resulted in centralization of power and authority of the apex. Centralization of power and authority of apex. And Gandhian concept of Gram Swaraj is all about decentralization. Is there any better method of ruling ourselves except decentralization? That is a question mark. We all know power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. And Transparency International survey results, we all know, and how our country is faring in terms of perception index on corruption. And there is a danger of jobless growth. Economy is growing. Economy is growing, fine, but it is not able to generate a sufficient number of jobs for our young people. So technology should be, Gandhiji's principle is, technology should be in tune with the needs of local livelihoods and skills, instead of promoting mindless consumerism and irresponsible capitalism. I repeat, mindless, Gandhiji's principles are against mindless consumerism, spending excessively, using excessive number of goods. It is against mindless consumerism and irresponsible capitalism. We all know the growing nexus between political parties and the business community and economists. So they coined a new word for this, crony capitalism. It is happening in almost all the countries. So relevance of today's concepts. Gandhi, his teachings are more valid today than ever before. My opinion. When people are trying to find solutions to the rampant greed, widespread violence, and runaway consumptive style of living. These are the people, Martin Luther King Jr. in the USA, Nelson Mandela in South Africa, Aung San Suu Kyi in Myanmar, Kailash Satyarthi of India. These are the people. Gandhiji's ideas influenced these people to do some better work in their life. These are only a few examples I am giving. Just I will take maybe 2-3 minutes, not more than that. Here are some quotes from Gandhiji. The weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. You must be the change you wish to see in the world. You must not lose faith in humanity. Humanity is an ocean. If a few drops of the ocean are dirty, the ocean does not become dirty. He was always very positive and optimistic. And about Gandhiji, Martin Luther King Jr. once said, if humanity is to progress, Gandhiji is inescapable. If humanity is to progress, Gandhiji is inescapable. We may ignore him at our own risk. We may ignore him at our own risk. And he further commented, he further remarked, Martin Luther King Jr., Christ furnished the spirit and motivation, while Gandhi furnished the method. So he didn't hesitate even to compare Gandhiji with Jesus Christ. And Mahatma Gandhi rejected Darwin's survival of the fittest theory. He rejected Adam Smith's laissez-faire model. He rejected Karl Marx's thesis of natural rivalry between capital and laborers. But his philosophy stresses on importance of being together. Harmony, achieving harmony among the people. So, if as humans we are able to conduct our activities without committing 7 mistakes, which are known as 7 deadly sins, then only it would be possible to create a world that was dreamt of Bapu. What are those 7 sins? Wealth without work, pleasure without conscience. Professor Sengegaru, he told how to create a better society. Possible to create a better society with better organization, provided we are determined not to commit these sins. Wealth without work, pleasure without conscience, science without humanity, knowledge without character, politics without principles, commerce without morality, worship without sacrifice. And finally, I would like to close this small speech by with the Mahatma's quotation. There are students here, there are scholars here, there are young teachers here, and we are expected to play an important role in our lives and in shaping the future of this country. And Mahatma Gandhi says, we always nowadays we always face different type of dilemmas. We call it ethical dilemmas. Whether to do wrong thing or not, we know it is a wrong thing, but we try to justify on different grounds. But Gandhiji said, recall the face of the poorest and weakest man you have seen and ask yourself if this step you contemplate is going to be any use to them. This is the question we have to ask ourselves before making a decision. Then my final suggestion to students especially is, instead of worshipping Gandhiji, no need to worship anyone. Instead of worshipping Gandhiji in a ritual manner, I humbly suggest the students and young teachers to revisit the writings of Bapu and also the writings on Gandhi with open mind. Satyameva Jayate, thank you very much, and thank you for giving me this opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir, for highlighting the importance of Gandhi's life as a practical idealist in this present century, and his life as a mass communicator who relentlessly worked for emancipation and empowerment, and a person who envisaged peace. You have rightly said that we should be following or taking a page out of his life and follow his concepts of Sarvodaya, Swaraj, Swadeshi, and Gram Swaraj. We should also keep in mind his ideals of not spending excessively and avoiding irresponsible capitalism. It has truly been a very, insightful session, sir, with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gracie.
Before we move on to our next special lecture, I have an announcement to make. The Northeastern Hill University Tura campus had organized an essay competition on National Education Policy 2020 for Brighter Future, and the results are out. All right, in the first category, that is for classes 9 to 12, we have Chua Rani K. Sangma from Government Girls Higher Secondary School securing the first position. Pringsame N. Sangma from Loyola College has secured the second position, and Silgira R. Marak from Rorengri Government Higher Secondary School has secured the third position. Coming to the second category, which is for the college, we have Salman C.H. Momin from Don Bosco College, who has got the first position, followed by Bristi N. Areng from the Department of Zoology, Don Bosco College, securing the second position. In the third category, which is for the postgraduates, we have Lorena Zamin from the Department of Management, NEHU Tura campus, securing the first position. Mr. Kapeto K. Rotoka from Rural Development and Agricultural Production, Tura campus, securing the second place. And Ms. Sonia Saikia from the Department of Management, NEHU Tura campus, securing the third position. A big congratulations to you all. And the certificates and gifts will be sent to your respective institutes shortly. Kindly collect it from there. We have another towering personality amidst us here today, a erudite scholar, Professor K.R.S. Sambhavisa Rao. Professor Rao is presently Vice Chancellor of Mizoram University, India. He did DSc in Biotechnology from Berhampur University, India, in the field of biotechnology, PhD in Zoology from Sri Venkateshwara University, India, in the field of Toxicology and Physiology. PhD in Pharmaceutical Science from Andhra University, India, on dosage formulation and drug delivery systems. He has worked as a professor of zoology and biotechnology at Acharya Nagarjuna University for over 28 years and worked in various research areas such as aquaculture biotechnology, microbial biotechnology, and molecular biology areas. He is instrumental in establishing the biotechnology department at Acharya Nagarjuna University and initiated the courses such as MSc Biotechnology, MTech Biotechnology, and MSc Nanobiotechnology. Professor Rao has published over 240 research papers in various national and international journals and filed 8 patents and edited or authored 20 books. His research work has good citations. Professor Rao worked as a visiting scientist at Emory University School of Medicine, Atlanta, USA during 1999-2000, at University of Göttingen, Germany during 2004, and Virginia Commonwealth University Medical College, Richmond, USA, in the Division of Physiology during 2005, and worked as adjunct professor at Indicasset, Republic of Panama, during 2010 to 2017. He visited CSIRO and University of Adelaide, Australia, and University of Singapore during the year 2001. He visited Pokhara University, Nepal, as a visiting faculty during the year 2002. He has guided 25 PhD students and 20 MPhil students. Professor Rao is instrumental in establishing the Association of Biotechnology and Pharmacy in the year 2007, and he is the founder General Secretary of Association of Biotechnology and Pharmacy. Current Trends in Biotechnology and Pharmacy. Editor, Aquaculture Times, elected Fellow of Andhra Pradesh Academy of Sciences, Fellow of Association of Biotechnology and Pharmacy, Honorary Fellow of Society of Regenerative Medicine and Society of Biotechnology. He has also been awarded the Panama National Award for Educational Development, Talented Biotechnologist Award at Colombo University, Best Paper Award for Polyvet Journal. He is the member of several scientific and professional organizations and the recipient of Andhra Pradesh Best Teacher Award in 2013. He is the editorial board member for Indian Journal of Biosciences, Journal of Pharmacology and Toxicology, Journal of Applied Biosciences, Bioscan, and editor of Current Trends in Biotechnology.
Yes, sir. Yes.